What's up, guys? I wanted to go over my top 10 best dirt track facilities in the country here today. A few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, maybe a little bit more than that, I put out my top 10 favorite racetracks as far as the on-track product goes, the best racing tracks, in my opinion. If you want to watch that, I'll have it down in the video description below, a link to that video. But I wanted to do this. A lot of people were asking, hey, put out a video about the best facilities. Now, there's going to be a lot of racetracks that were not on that first list about the best racing that will be making their first appearance on this one. Now, there are maybe a track or two that are going to be on both lists, right? And there's going to be one that maybe will surprise you a little bit. So we're going to go through this list, and I want to mention these couple of things right off the top. Number one, this is my opinion, right? So if you don't like it, you know the saying, everybody has an opinion. They're kind of like, never mind, I'm not going to mention the whole thing. But everybody has their own opinion to their favorite facility or favorite racing tracks, right? And this is my opinion. The other thing is, I have to have been to this racetrack in order for it to make it on my list. So if a track that you think should be on the list is not on here, more than likely I have not been there, or maybe I just overlooked it, right? I probably sat down for about an hour today and just was kind of looking through schedules, high limit schedules, the years when I was on the Outlaw Tour, the schedules when we did those races as well, and just races that I've been to before I even got to the jobs with High Limit and the Outlaws. And so it's a pretty diverse list all across the country. I've got a list of honorable mentions as well. We'll go through those first, and then we'll start writing down the top 10 here as we go along. So without further ado, I think I've got everything out of the way. Obviously my opinion, and I have to have been there. Those are kind of the criteria for this, right? So here we go with the honorable mentions. So we'll move out of the way. And number one on the list, this track was also on my favorite racing tracks in the first video, that being Perris Auto Speedway. Fantastic facility there. A lot of grandstands, paved areas all over the place there. So Perris is on the list. This one I had actually visited just this year with High Limit, Salina High Bank Speedway. Underrated facility. I really hope that we go back there next year with High Limit. Really enjoyed going there. Lakeside Speedway, in my opinion, it could be a premier facility in the country. Just needs a little bit more, some fresh paint, some things here and there. And I think it could be a place where you see a high-paying, a very, very big racetrack or a very big racing event here in the coming years. Cedar Lake Speedway in Wisconsin, love going there. Dodge City, Kansas, fantastic facility over there. Haven't been there in a couple years, but still very good facility. Sharon Speedway, in my opinion, underrated. That racetrack was also on the best racing list for me. Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, another Wisconsin track making its way onto the list here. Lawrenceburg Speedway in Indiana. That was actually my number 2 best racing track in the first video. It makes it on here as well for the honorable mentions for facilities. 81 Speedway in Park City, Kansas. Ogilvie Raceway. If you've never been to Ogilvie, I highly recommend going there. I would say the pits maybe need a little bit of work as far as the facility goes, but man, the area where the race fans go, it is one of my favorite looking areas. Like for the midway and like the area where the snack bar and stuff is at. It's all indoors. It's all like got this brand new wood on the walls and the roof and everything like that. Ogilvie, fantastic place for the race fans. Placerville Speedway, love going to Peeville. That one was also on my first list as well. I love the area that they have over there with the bar and where you get food and stuff like that. It really feels like I don't know what it feels like. It feels like a special place where you go for on those weeknights when they have the different beer, I don't know, the beer garden and stuff like that at Placerville. That area, I love it, and it's obviously a track on a fairground, which helps make it a better facility as well. But Placerville, I really love that area where the fans are at, where you get food and beer and stuff like that. The one thing about Placerville is they probably need more grandstands. The problem is when the track is as small as it is, and they're already built around a hill and all that stuff. I know they just added some more grandstands, but you really can't fit that many people into Placerville. But I love that area, love that track. And then the new Terre Haute. So Terre Haute was already a good racetrack, a good facility, I should say. And with the new addition of the catch fence and all that stuff, and they've done a lot of work to that area, Terre Haute has definitely jumped onto this list as well in the honorable mentions. So with that, let's jump into the top 10. And number 10 on this list was it was either number 9 or number 10 on the racing track, the racing list as well. And number 10 for me, you're going to have to go all the way to New York to find it. And it is Weed Sport. I love Weed Sport. I love the racing there. I mentioned that in the first video, and I love the facility. I love what they've done with the place there. It feels like every time you go, it looks like they just put fresh paint on everything, right? The seats, the walls, everywhere behind the grandstand area. They've got a really cool beer garden area as well, like I talked about with Placerville. And I cannot say enough good things about Weed Sport. The pit area is pretty large. It's, you can fit a ton of cars back there. It's pretty wide open. And I just love the area, what they have for the race fans there. They've done a great job with that place, and it is definitely, in my opinion, deserves a spot on this list. And it was hard for me to even put it at number 10. I wanted to put it up a little bit higher, but there's a couple of places, including this next one, that has kind of jumped ahead of it here over the last couple of years. And for number 9 on the list, we're going to go with I-70 Speedway in Missouri. We were just there a few weeks ago for the high limit race. That place seats like, I want to say it's like 7,000 or 8,000 people, which makes it tough when you watch on a broadcast, the high limit race. Everybody's like, man, there's nobody there. Well, there was a lot of people there. There just wasn't 8,000 people there to fill all those grandstands. And just like a lot of the places on this list, the area where the fans are all at is just fantastic. The announcer's booth, which is good for me, it was very nice. All the suites in that area are very nice as well. And so I-70, in my opinion, really deserves a spot on this list. Casey Schumann, Brooke Schumann have done a great job with that place. They're just building a drag strip as well over there, adding to that facility. And so give I-70 number 9 on this list. Now, number 8, cannot wait to get here later this year, not only for the facility, but also for the racing. And it's one of those places that where you go and it's not just about the track, it's not just about the facility, it's about the area where you're at, right? Skagit Speedway is one of the most picturesque racetracks in the entire country up there in the Pacific Northwest. You look behind the track, there's just trees and mountains, and it's just a really nice place to look at, right? It's very picturesque. And Skagit, they've done so much stuff to that place. And once again, I keep bringing up the beer garden, but that beer garden area they have there as well is very, very cool. And I love the area where fans are able to sit on the hill in the grass and bring a lawn chair or a blanket or something like that. And they've got people almost wrapped all the way around half the facility, right? So Skagit Speedway is definitely growing on that list of places that are the nicest places to go and watch a race as a fan, which is also a good thing because they race on a weekly basis there. And so the fans that go there weekly, they're probably pretty happy as that is their weekly track because they've got just about everything they need at Skagit Speedway. Now, number 7 on this list, and this might be a little bit shocking that is this low on my list here, but only about 2 hours away from where I am right now, and that is Eldora Speedway. So Eldora, you're probably thinking, well, how's that not in the top 3, right? Well, in my opinion, they have everything you need at Eldora Speedway, right? They got great food, they got plenty of seats, they got the grass all the way around the racetrack, they got the big screen TV, all of the paved pit area in the infield, all that stuff. In my opinion, I think Eldora just needs a little bit of a facelift, right? I feel like the grandstands, like on the front stretch, it's like they just need some new wood or some new seats or something. It kind of looks a little bit on the older side. Maybe some new paint or something like that, right? Tell me in the comment section below if you think I'm wrong about that. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of tradition. It's such a well-known track, a well-known facility that maybe they're kind of leaving it like that for nostalgia. I'm not really sure. But it could definitely use a little bit of a facelift. But even then, it is still one of the best dirt track facilities in the country. And you might think I'm crazy for having a number 7. But I mean, and they have everything you need there, right? I mean, it is a top-notch place to go. I just think that they could, put a little bit of money into the new seats or something like that and make it, a top-notch place and maybe jump into the top 5 on my list. Now, at number 6, this is one a lot of people probably haven't been to before. I only went there one time, and I loved it. Vado Speedway Park. The one time I did go there, it was like 50-mile-an-hour winds there with the Outlaws. But before the races got started, the area where the fans are at, it's all paved, brand new everything. When you go to the snack bar signs are all like LED screens. It's not like somebody went on there and was, they had to scratch out. It was $3.99 one week. Now they had to scratch it out. Now it's $4. It wasn't anything like that, right? It was all LED screens. All the stuff, it just looked like it was brand new. Everything was brand new at Vado Speedway Park when I went there probably 2 or 3 years ago. And, I feel like it doesn't really get as much love because it's just so far out of the way, right? New Mexico, nobody's really going there. Not many national touring series go there. They have that big race, that late model race there, which brings a lot of eyes to it. But still, I mean, I just feel like not a lot of people know about Vado Speedway Park and how nice the facility is. It is so nice that it made number 6 on my best dirt track facility list here today. Now let's go into number 5. And this one, you might not remember it. I mean, you might remember it, but you might not really think about it when you talk about the best facilities. But man, this is way over here. I got to really get off the screen. I spelt it wrong. That is supposed to say Jackson. So Jackson Motorplex in Minnesota, the track that is owned by Todd Quiring, the guy that owns David Gravel's number 2 car. They have a lot of good stuff going on over there. Really, really nice grandstand area. Everything behind the stands is all paved. They bring in a lot of really good food vendors, but even without the food vendors, they've got great food there. And there's not much else you could really say that isn't a good thing about Jackson Motorplex. I really like thinking about it right now. I can't think of a bad thing about it. And I love the area where you come into the track. It's almost like an old Western town. When you pull onto the property, there's like all these old buildings, and it looks like there was a couple of, old school shootouts between cowboys and stuff like that. It has this really weird but kind of cool vibe to it. And I love going to Jackson Motorplex. It feels like it's kind of like a Weed Sport. Whenever you go there, it just feels like they just put brand new paint on everything, and everything is brand new. So Jackson Motorplex, number 5 on my list. And that is not the only Todd Quiring-owned racetrack that we will see here inside this top 5. But before we get to another one of Todd's tracks, let's go to number 4. And we were just there a few weeks ago, and it is going to be Port Royal. So Port Royal Speedway in Pennsylvania. I'm sure quite a few people were expecting to see this on the list. But man, they can fit so many people into the grandstands there. They've got that great suite area right there off of turn number 4. And the one thing about Port Royal is it's a half mile, but it seems like anywhere you sit there, you're going to be able to take in all of the action and not miss anything. There's not any blind spots or anything like that, right? When you go to like Eldora or something, there's kind of haulers in the infield. If you're sitting low in the grandstands, you might struggle to be able to see the other side of the racetrack. But that is not the case at Port Royal. They've got it built just right for you to see the entire racetrack. They bring in the best food vendors in my opinion, probably anywhere in the entire country for their weekly shows, right? That was at the Packers concessions or whatever. They have the best ice cream stuff. They have the best, pizza, all that good stuff. The infield area is always like perfectly green grass. It's always mowed. The infield is that paved little, pit area and stuff like that. I believe the pits outside the track are also paved, if I'm not mistaken, which is always really nice for all the race teams. The area where your t-shirts all go, they've got that dialed in really nice as well for all the t-shirt vendors and stuff. So Port Royal Speedway, number 4 on my list. And now let's go to number 3. And even with all the issues that they've had there over the last couple of years, a tornado, a flood, anything else you could ever think of, Huset's Speedway is still number 3. How many, I can't even begin to fathom the amount of money that they put into that place to make it one of the most top-notch racetracks in the entire country. The catch fence, when they first reopened, I went there for like the second race they ever reopened. All of the billboards around the entire racetrack, the big screens, it just feels like a big race when you're there, right? Because there's just so many amenities. There's so many different things going on at the same time for you to look at. And there's different like levels of seating and stuff. It just kind of feels almost like a stadium, even though you're only on one side of the racetrack. It has that stadium feel. There's different areas for bathrooms. There's different areas for snack bars on the turn 4 side, the turn 1 side, the top of the grandstand side of things. They got great suites as well. And it's another one of those places, man, where you go and it feels like they just repainted everything, right? So Huset Speedway, they've survived a tornado. They've survived a flood that put the entire racetrack underwater. But they are number 3 on this list for me. It is a top-notch place, and that is why they're bringing in such big races there, and people want to come out and enjoy them there. Now, number 2 on this list, and you probably saw this one coming. I left it off of my favorite racing tracks on the first video, but Knoxville Raceway, how can it not be on this list? It's got, all the stuff that you want, the huge infield for all the trailers to park. It's got, a great area for all the t-shirt vendors and things like that. It's got a paved pit area outside the track. It's got all the motorhome hookups you could ever need. It's got buildings on the property for different things like, meetings and autograph sessions and things like that. They bring in really, really good food vendors, much like what Port Royal does. They've got great food vendors there. Grandstands galore. There's so many stands on either side of the racetrack. The Brian Clausen Suite Tower, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame on the property. It was hard for me to put Knoxville at number 2, but the number 1 track on this list, I actually just went there about 2 weeks ago. and it jumped into my number one spot. That's why I'm kind of glad I saved this video for after this race, because I heard so many good things about it. And you're probably wondering what it is. You probably know what it is at this point, but it is going to be Lucas Oil Speedway in Missouri. So the Diamond of Dirt Tracks, they call it that for a reason, right? There is so much grass at this place, but it is all mowed. It's all like meticulously mowed, almost like a golf course, right? They do everything you could ever want as a race fan or as a team that's coming there. You got the paved pit area. They got a car wash right next to the pit area. You don't have to leave the facility if you have a 2-day show there. You back your car out, take it right through a car wash. So it's almost like a car wash you use for your own car in your town, right? It's all covered up. You got the guns and everything like that. They got a backstretch grandstand with a full-blown snack bar and bar area. The other side of the grandstand's the same exact thing. Really wide, sweet area. The grass in the infield, as I mentioned, I just feel like when there's nice grass in the infield, it just makes everything look even better. They had that at Lucas Oil Speedway. There's fresh paint everywhere. They've got so many other things for you to do there. When we were there the other weekend, it was so hot. People just went and jumped into the lake at the boat drag strip that they have over there. You're able to just go swimming whenever you want. There's the go-kart track for kids and whatever to enjoy before the races start. And man, the snack bar there, I had a bacon cheeseburger there, and the area where they have like the tomatoes and the lettuce and all that stuff. I mean, it is all like the freshest stuff. It's all super clean. They take debit cards, which is a huge thing in my opinion. If your racetrack takes debit cards, then it's a fan of mine, right? I love when tracks are able to take debit cards and things like that, right? Lucas Oil has everything you could ever need for any type of racing, right? I mean, the trophy trucks, the boats, they had a mud bog drag strip. They've got the dirt track, obviously. They've got camping area. They've got parking area galore. I mean, this place is absolutely magnificent. If you've never been there, you have to go to Lucas Oil Speedway one day, maybe when we go back for the high limit race that was rescheduled later on this year. We hope to see you there. Yeah, that's my top 10 list right there. Lucas Oil, Knoxville, Huset's, Port Royal, Jackson Motorplex, Vado, Eldora, Skagit, I-70, and Weed Sport. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your favorite dirt track facility down in the comment section below. Which one did I miss? Like I said, if I don't have it on the list, I probably have never been there, or I kind of forgot about it maybe. But let me know down in the comments. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll talk to you guys again here soon. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate the support.